There is a very clear distinction between being poor and being broke. Back then, when I was very young, about 24, 25, I was chasing money. I realize now that if I had chased value, I would get to the level of success, and that could be monetary, that could be friendships, that could be relationships, network. What I've learned since then is the fact that money is just a byproduct. It's just a bonus of the value that you create. If I could understand this concept faster, at an earlier age, I would have saved myself years of frustration. Looking back, I realize now that these lessons were not just about making money. They were about the process of becoming that individual that actually deserves and understands that wealth to begin with. The good news is that it is never too late to change your perspective. You can essentially learn anything. The only thing that you acquire is the perspective and the wisdom of the value of what you are currently doing today. So here is an interesting concept. Every job that you have, no matter who you are working for, is paid training. You're essentially getting paid to learn something new, and you are spending somebody else's money for your own education. Now, it doesn't always look so glamorous. People will give you a hard time. People will bitch at you. You will have problems with your coworkers. But if you simply just shift your perspective a little bit and basically say, this is the path I need to go through to become the incredible person that I know I will become. You know yourself. This is you, and this is the path you're going down on. The positive perspective is the fact that you understand this journey. You're not distracted with what happened or what he said or what she said, who's bitching, who's complaining. You have one objective. It is to solve the problems, to grow, to provide a lot of value, rinse and repeat. And there's a statement that I always make. The universe will never give you more than you think you deserve. So if you look at a job and if you view that job only as a means of getting a paycheck, that's the only thing the universe will give you. You will die working at that job because that's how you view it. You say, I go at 9, I get out at 5, and I receive this money. You have sealed your own fate. When you see a job as paid training, you're not just working for money. You are building the expertise, the resilience, the connections, the skill set that will help you make more money and create wealth in the future. Everybody starts from somewhere. You have to have goals in life that are based out of your morals and your fundamentals. And your moral compass is incredibly essential for you to build a foundation on. Because essentially your core values are the foundation of your existence. It doesn't matter if it's for friendships, relationships, your family, if it's for work, if it's for learning, growth, skill set. Building goals around what truly matters for you the most will ensure that your ambition aligns with who you actually are and who you strive to be. Now, I've built Optimum 7, my organization, around my own core values and fundamentals. I just want to do good and ethical work. I want to provide a lot of value. I don't want to bullshit. I want to say what I mean and mean what I say. I want to learn a lot, grow, and then teach what I have learned to others. And the whole infrastructure is built around elevating the people that are around me, my community, my friends, my coworkers, my clients, my friends. It's a win-win-win. Nobody loses with this approach. And imagine living your life where you primarily just want to provide value, and you know for a fact that if you are not resentful and if you are not bitter, you will get paid in karma. Because at the end of the day, whatever energy you put out, that is the energy that you will get back. And trust me when I tell you this, money is an energy. If you talk negatively about money and rich people and wealthy people, do you think that money will ever come to you? So my relationship with money has significantly changed. I don't look at money as something I absolutely need or require anymore. I just focus on the value. And when your goals align with your core values, the work that you do starts to feel meaningful. And meaningful work both attracts wealth and opportunities. Money basically becomes a byproduct of staying true to your core values and fundamentals. Every single person that I have ever interviewed for a job has heard this statement: attitude over talent. Now, what does this mean? Talent can get you noticed. You need some talent. But without the right mindset, the positivity, the grit, the perseverance, the elegance, and the willingness to learn more, talent does not mean anything. I've seen it time and time again. A less talented and a less experienced team member will significantly outperform an individual that has more experience and more talent simply because the latter has negative attitude. And when you have a negative attitude and a bitchy personality, you're just constantly looking for conflict. You're looking to resist whatever the universe throws your way. So you're too busy with that negativity and you miss opportunities and you miss the different innovative ideas that you should be coming up with. And it's not like I was always a business owner. There was a point back in 2005, 2006, where I was working for somebody else. And I remember very clearly, I had a boss and he told me to remove a specific product from the e-commerce website that I was working on. And I heard him, I said I was gonna do it, but then I didn't. And 2 days later, I remember this gentleman, he was a very kind gentleman, very respectful. He called me into his office and he started screaming at me from the top of his lungs. And the reason was that the product that he asked me to remove that I did not remove was from a manufacturer that we were not allowed to sell anymore. So the manufacturer ended up calling him and bitching at him because this product was not removed and threatened him. Now you see, I could have addressed that issue quickly, but I didn't, and it was my fault and my responsibility. When he screamed at me, it made me very uncomfortable, made me very sad because nobody likes to suck at their job, but it taught me a very valuable lesson. I did not victimize myself because my boss screamed at me. I understood the problem, I learned, I moved on, I fixed it, and it never happened again. A person with the negative attitude will get stuck to what happens. The person with the right attitude learns, fixes the problem, moves on. Remember, health is your ultimate productivity hack. You simply cannot sustain success without a healthy foundation. And I know this because I've been through this journey. I lived unhealthy for years. I was drinking every single day, I wasn't really exercising efficiently, and it probably took me a few years to readjust everything that I do and focus on health. I quit drinking alcohol. I started exercising 5 times a week. I started doing ice baths and breathing exercises and meditation. Because this is the reality. Being an entrepreneur is tough. You need to accomplish that zen to be able to address all the problems that I've thrown at you. Remember, investing in your health is like investing in a high-performing asset, because without you, none of this will happen. None of the success happens, none of the money happens, none of the abundance happens. So your health is going to increase your capacity to create, innovate, and generate wealth consistently. Fail fast to learn more and grow more. And in the end, you need to teach more, because failure is a very powerful teacher. And remember, you are going to fail more times than you are going to succeed. The quicker you accept and learn from your failure, the faster you'll grow, and eventually you'll also help others avoid the same mistakes. I probably speak to 50 different prospects on a monthly basis, and I fail on 40 of them. So 80% of every single opportunity that comes to me with all my capabilities, my assets, my experience, my background, my wisdom, I lose. But do you think that that phases me? No, I learn from every single conversation that I have. But guess what? My close ratios today are probably 5 times what they were 10 years ago. Each failure uncovers these blind spots that you did not know were there. And they teach you how to adapt, how to innovate, how to change course. By failing fast, you accelerate the process of finding out what actually works. And I promise that money will eventually follow that level of experience. If you want to be rich, if you want to be wealthy, and if you really want to enjoy abundance, you have to get really good at mastering relationships. And for you to be able to do that, you have to choose your circle wisely, because the people that you surround yourself with are going to shape your habits, your thoughts, your ambitions. About 7 years ago, we had a discussion with my college buddy. His name is Patrick Barnhill. And I sent Patrick a link about a networking group. We had never done networking before because we were too busy just grinding and building our businesses. And I think it was like $2,000 a year to join this networking group. $2,000 is not a lot of money, but it is some money that I could do something else with. So we came to the conclusion, we said, let's do it for a year. If it doesn't work, we're out $2,000. Who cares? Now, 7 years later, that entrepreneurs group has made me millions of dollars. I've met 7 of my closest friends from that group, and those connections have opened up opportunities worth tens of millions of dollars. $2,000, tens of millions of dollars. And Tony Robbins says this: proximity is power. Trust me when I say this. No matter how smart you are, intelligent you are, capable you are, you will not do this by yourself. And remember, relationships are like the stock market. The value of relationships compound over time. And it takes a minute, it takes a couple of years for you to really build trust with your network. But once you do, it will lead to life-changing opportunities. And authentic, nurtured relationships can grow very fast over time. And this networking group was $2,000, but I've probably spent $250,000 over the past 7 years attending events, visiting my friends, inviting them here. So it's not a cheap hobby, but as I said, if you nurture and if you're not shy and if you really leverage these relationships, they're possibly worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And yes, you should meet and network with like-minded individuals, but be very careful to find people that align with your vision and with your values. True connections will only happen with people who share your goals and your vision. And the beautiful thing about these relationships is the fact that they will foster mutual growth. A deal is only a good deal if it's good for both sides. And for it to be a good deal for both sides, you have to put out a lot of value as well. And only when those values and goals are aligned, you might be able to create something incredible together. There's a close friend of mine that I met 8 years ago that started a business that I invested in, and my investment now is already 10x in just 4 years' time. But I did not invest in his business because the business idea was very good or the product was very good. I didn't think that it would actually work. The only reason that I invested in his company is because I knew his vision and I knew his power to execute. When you share the same values and goals, your decision making is going to be aligned. So you will save so much time on bullshit and drama, and essentially you are maximizing the financial output. And the friendship side of this is really just beautiful. Imagine hanging out with people that you would trust $1 million with. No questions asked. Anytime you're dealing with somebody, it really doesn't matter. It could be a family friend, it could be a partner, it could be a coworker, it could be an investor. You should always protect your priorities by establishing clear boundaries. Remember, every yes to something is a no to something else that could be important. For example, every now and then I will get a rush job request. Somebody will come and they'll ask a project to be completed in 30 days, and we usually execute that project, let's say, in 6 months. Now, they would be willing to pay extra, sometimes double, sometimes triple, and you don't really want to say no to a project like that or to money like that. But every time that happens, I understand that if I say yes to that, I'm saying no to something else. Now, why am I saying all of this? When an opportunity like this comes, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars, of course I want the money, I have to be really careful on setting clear boundaries. So, a very firm execution plan and schedule. Because this is a rush project, it's not going to change my team or my execution details. And also, yes, I'm accountable for doing that project in 30 days, let's say, but as the client, you're accountable for A, B, C, D. Set the expectations from the beginning, set the boundaries from the beginning, no misunderstandings, no misalignment, and that goes back to the same place of setting the right boundaries and saying no. And this brings me to my next point. You are not going to see eye to eye with your clients, with your coworkers, with your business partners all the time. And when that happens, and when you outgrow those individuals and you outgrow your job, and sometimes it's really, really sad when you outgrow your family members, let them go. Stop trying to change them and put them on the same path as you. I've done that and I shouldn't have, because it just creates unnecessary resistance and friction. Growth often requires leaving behind what no longer serves you. And letting go will create space for new relationships and new opportunities. Letting go will also ensure that you don't burn those relationships. And this has happened multiple times. I've been in situations where I had to let go of people that I really didn't want to. But every single time I ended up in a better place without those people. But of course, you want to make these decisions with love. You don't want to make these decisions with hate and with resentment. And as long as you can do that, and you do that in a loving manner, in an ethical manner, you will always end up with more money and more opportunities. Understand that you are the last man. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody will solve your problems. Waiting for others to fix your problems or find opportunities for you is ludicrous. When I started my company, I actually didn't own all of it. I had a business partner. And believe it or not, I was not in charge of finances, and I really didn't want to be. I didn't like or enjoy that part of the business. So I relied on my partner to do that. And there was a point where I had to take over that responsibility, that control. It wasn't anything negative or anything bad. It was just about the fact that I needed to control the future of finances for this organization. And let me tell you, it was a very painful process. I had to convince him to let go. I had to convince myself that I could get the job done. I had to learn a ton in a short period of time. But doing that alone opened up millions of dollars for me. I didn't want to do it. I did it anyway. Taking full ownership of your decisions and your actions from the ground up puts you in charge of your earning potential. So take ownership and take accountability. Stop finding excuses. Stop defending yourself and your actions. Stop blaming others for setbacks. It simply doesn't solve anything. It just makes you less and less powerful. Because taking responsibility for both the mistakes and the failures that you have, and also the success and wins that you have, is essential for growth. And very few people might tell you this. But listen, money loves confidence. And the only way that you will achieve that level of confidence is if you take ownership, if you stop making excuses, if you stop defending yourself, and you understand that you are the last man standing. Adaptability is non-negotiable, especially the way that things are moving so fast nowadays. You are going to adapt or you are going to die. The world, technology is changing so rapidly, and clinging to old habits or old systems will basically help you die a lot faster. Pivoting and embracing change is what's going to help you survive and thrive in this marketplace. Let's talk about AI, for instance. I've been speaking of AI for the past 6 years. There are talks and workshops that I have done from 6 years ago where I talk about AI architects, the position of the future. And just in the past 90 days, I have actually hired an AI architect. Now, do I want to test 3 different tools every single week? And do I really want to talk about all these new technologies and everything that could be done with AI. This is all very overwhelming to me. But it's not like I have a choice. This is where the technology is moving, so I'm going to stay on top of it. In a fast-changing world, especially with the technology that we have, adaptability directly affects your ability to make money. By embracing technological advancements that keep you ahead of the curve, you can create more efficient systems and create revenue streams that you did not know were there. You have to be able to move, adapt fast, or you will die. Be proactive, not reactive. This is one of the keys to staying ahead. That's because reacting to problems keep you in survival mode. And you will never be empowered in survival mode. You will never be in control in survival mode. You will be able to create and innovate less in survival mode. Thinking ahead, anticipating challenges, and taking action early puts you in control. And this has a lot to do with leveraging opportunities and productization and making money at the right time, right place. When you're reactive, you're not really at a maximum output, maximum exposure mindset. You're just trying to solve one problem or you're trying to put out a fire. When you are proactive, it's like a chess game. You are looking at all the different options and which option will result in the most amount of money or the most amount of output in terms of resources. And to be proactive, you have to be incredibly organized. You have to move fast, make mistakes fast, learn from those mistakes fast. You already should have experience having made that decision 100 times prior to that time. You simply are not reactive because you know the answer to that problem. All of your results, everything that is the output in your life today, are reflections of your daily actions and daily habits. Success is a result of consistent daily habits where you have established a level of discipline because you know what output or outcome you want. So you really have to focus on this discipline and on tasks, no matter how small they are. Block out your calendar in such a manner where you're addressing personal growth, you're addressing your health, your diet, exercise, nutrition, you're addressing your business and the needs of your business. And this happens daily like clockwork with no exceptions. I'm on a similar boat. I go to the gym 5 times a week. I go to sleep at 9:30, 9:45. I wake up at 4 every single morning or most mornings. I don't take any outside substances, no alcohol, no weed. And trust me, I want to have a drink. I want to relax. I want to do things, but I know that this is going to affect me negatively because I've already been down that road. So what you want to do is you want to get these small wins, these small habits every single day, because then your growth is not going to be linear. It's going to be exponential. Seizing the day is good, but you have to think in terms of weeks, months, years, decades. People usually overestimate what they can do in 1 year and they underestimate what they can do in 10. That's because short-term thinking can hold you back. It's not really realistic, both on the negative or the positive end. That's why I often talk about instant gratification versus delayed gratification. If you ask me a question like, would you like $10 million in the next 60 days? I wouldn't just say yes. I would say, all right, what's the opportunity cost? Because essentially I want to build a vision that stretches into the future. I'm not really interested in 60 days. So I'm more interested in building this vision on a long-term strategy mindset. Because understand that very few people are doing that and very few people are playing the long game. And true financial success really comes from being able to think in months, years, decades. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And if you look at the most successful people, not the douchebags who are flashing their watches and who are flashing their cars, not those ones. If you really look at wealthy people, you will see that they engineered their own future. This is one mistake that 99% of entrepreneurs make. When things get easy, do not get complacent. push harder. And this is not about working more or working harder. This is about the fact that you never take your eye off the prize. And I've done this before. There were times where I've had really good sales in a matter of like quarters, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a vacation. I'm just gonna chill. I'm not gonna do as much. Let me take off a couple of days. And guess what? It doesn't work. Those are the times where I need to not take my eye off the price, because that's where growth comes from. When you get an opportunity, you don't just chill because you've hit a really good spot. You push harder, you push more, you want to get to the next level. That's how wealth is created. And it's true, certain level of success can lead to comfort. But that's exactly when the momentum will slow down. And if you can double down during these growth periods, you get to the next level. The further you get into the next level, the fewer people are going to follow you. Again, I'm not saying work harder or drive yourself crazy. You can do that if you feel comfortable and if you're aware that you will be able to handle that level of work. I'm simply saying, don't take your eye off the prize. Remember, your long-term vision requires short-term sacrifices. Big objectives, big goals will require that you give up things in the short term, that you give up some of your comfort, like your leisure time, your vacation, unhealthy habits, and any distractions that you may have. These sacrifices, no matter how small, will pave the way for your long-term success. For example, I did a lot of things at Optimum 7 that I did not want to do for almost a decade. I did customer support when I didn't want to. I did coding when I didn't want to. I did certain events that I didn't want to go to. It's all sacrifices for the long term. I understood that if I did things that I didn't necessarily enjoy, but things that had to be done in the short term, that in the long term it would pay off, and it did. Now, I don't do majority of those things that I don't want to do. That's because I had the time and the patience to build the infrastructure for it. In a similar manner, for years, I told my wife that we could not get certain things. And we had the means, we had the money, we had the affordability. We did not do a lot of the vacations. We did not buy a lot of the things that we could actually afford to, because I wanted to invest more into the business to grow it. And guess what? Now I'm in a situation where I can afford some of those things. So understand that there is no promised land that you will get to. There is always a next level. Enjoy the journey. You will always make money if you're excited and if you're enjoying the journey. Now, it might take a year, it might take 5 years, a decade, or 3 decades, but it will happen. And that brings me to my next point. You have to set goals that excite you, not just goals that are achievable. I'm going to make $1 million a year. Who the fuck cares? What are you gonna do with $1 million a year? You're just gonna buy more stuff? The goals that you set for yourself should inspire you and challenge you. If your vision does not push you out of your comfort zone, it really won't drive any meaningful growth. I know the feeling because there were periods of times, a couple of years, where I was making decent money. I wasn't really trying so hard, but I thought that I was working really hard when I wasn't working really hard here, because I wasn't really going out of my comfort zone. For example, what's really exciting for me right now is this AI agent stuff. Implementing AI technologies so that I can 50x, 60x my output without having to hire anybody else. That's very exciting for me, but it's also very challenging. It's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody else would do it. You know, one of the things that really excite me nowadays? It has never been done before. And you'll always make more money this way, because you're innovating, you're creating, you're getting into uncharted territories. And unfortunately, as I'm doing this video, I'm thinking, it's not possible for me to explain you this. You have to live it. And the only way to live it is you actually do it. There's no other way you would experience what I'm talking about right now. Execution is always more powerful than an idea, and an execution will always beat the idea. Idea does not mean shit. I love it when people approach me with an idea or a deck and they're like, sign this NDA. Why am I gonna sign an NDA? Because you have an idea? It doesn't mean anything. You could have the idea to cure cancer. If you don't execute it properly, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any value. Great ideas are meaningless without action. And we live in an era, unfortunately, where people are more in love with the concept of growth than growth itself. They share all these motivational ideas, they share all these motivational quotes, and at the end of the day, they don't do shit. That's why they don't grow, they don't make money. They're just posers. Don't be one of those people, please. Do stuff, test stuff, execute, make mistakes, fuck up, fix it, fuck up again, fix it again, get better. And it's very, very unlikely that you are both the visionary and the executor. I'm a visionary. I don't really excel at executing these ideas. I can start executing it. I know how to set up a framework and an execution plan for my team, but I need people who are good at execution. What I do is I envision the idea, I come up with the execution plan, and I'll push it to like 30-40%. And then I have a team that can take it from 30-40% to 70-80-90%. And then perhaps I can take it from 90% and push it to 100% with my network, with my wisdom, with my money. So you have to build some kind of a framework where you are able to execute, not just come up with ideas. Ideas don't make money, execution makes money. Make decisions with love, not fear. Fear will always limit your actions, while love always expands your actions. When decisions are driven by passion, purpose, and care, the results will always be more meaningful. I have this friend, his name is David Hensel. When he first introduced this concept to me about 6.5 years ago, I was just grinding. I was working so hard. I didn't really have time to think about anything, and I was just working, stressed, unhealthy. And David introduced me to this idea, which is make decisions with love and not with fear. And my first thought process was, what kind of stupid shit is that? I didn't understand. I couldn't comprehend it at that level. But then, as I entertained the idea for the next few years, I really understood how powerful it was. It doesn't matter if you're making a small decision or a big decision. Making decisions with love means that you only and only entertain and push the positive side of that specific idea or decision. If I asked you right now, which one is better? More positive thinking or less negative thinking? What would your answer be? Decide right now. You know what it is? And multiple studies show less negative thinking. So you might have hundreds and thousands of positive thoughts, right? But if you have that many negative thoughts, it's not good. But you might have 10 positive thoughts, and if you have only one negative thought, you will prevail. Because negative is a lot more powerful than positive. The way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. Like Jim Rohn says, all discipline affects all discipline. Habits of excellence or mediocrity show up everywhere. If one part of your life is messy, like a disorganized space or an office or your trunk, it will reflect in other places in your business or your life. If you let things slide in one area of your life, you will do that again on another area. You might think you won't, but you will. And the odds of you really messing up the organization in the part of your life that has the most organization, in your opinion, are higher. So, whatever is bothering you, address it. Don't wait. Do it now. Replace I can't with how can I. Reframe the challenges for opportunities for solutions. I always say this, and I'm not the first one to do so. He who says he can and he who says he cannot are both usually right. If you focus on limitations, limitations are all you're going to get. If you focus on opportunities, opportunities are all you're going to get. For example, in my business, I refuse to take no for an answer because I know that's not accurate. But you have to understand that this has to do with how we are raised. Did you know that an average child hears the word no 400 times a day between the ages of 1 and 7? That means that you probably heard the word no 200,000 times before you turned 7. You are engineered to hear and to say the word no. It is not possible. No, you cannot do that. So what are you going to do about it? Replace I can't with how can I. Shift your focus and your perspective to things that you can solve instead of focusing on things that you cannot solve. Turn obstacles into opportunities. Every roadblock, every difficulty that you go through is an opportunity to learn and to grow. If you look at it as a problem, oh shit, I'm experiencing this problem again, of course it's gonna bring you down. But if you look at it as, oh shit, man, like I'm gonna learn so much. Yeah, this is a little painful, but I'll get over it. But I'm learning so much through this process. It just makes it exciting. And that's when you're not going to take no for an answer. You're gonna be like, let's figure it out. And I've surrounded myself with people like this. My business coach, Charles Godet, Ben Berman, my friends Patrick Barnhill, Shama Hyder, and I can give you 20 other names. They all think alike. They are never focused on the problem. They don't get stuck. They just move. Focus on fewer things, but do them better. And I love this word, hyper-focus. If you have an objective, problem you want to solve, and this is difficult, especially if you're creative, especially if you're an entrepreneur, because we love shiny things, but you have to be able to hyper-focus on solving certain things. And that's what truly works. You don't want to try to do everything. You want to do a few things, but you want to be the best at them. Because spreading yourself too thin will dilute your impact. If you focus on a few things, you will excel at those things. And that's what really builds the expertise and the wisdom. And this is especially important in this day and age because look at anything, look at a Netflix show. You're going to see, if you look at online reviews, you're going to see that it's either 1, 2 reviews or 4, 5 reviews. 3-star reviews do not exist anymore. Look at the products on Amazon. Would you buy a product on Amazon that has a 3-star review? Or would you buy one that has a 4.5-star review? Would you even entertain a 3-star review product? No, you wouldn't, because mediocrity is not accepted anymore in our society. We're spoiled consumers. It doesn't matter what we are buying. Everybody wants the 9s and 10s. People will entertain an 8, but nobody will buy a 7. That's why the things that you do, the services that you offer, the talents that you want to master, you have to be a 9 or a 10. So do fewer things, do them better. Simplify everything, because complexity will always kill progress. Overcomplicating systems and plans will always slow you down. Don't try to make something perfect. Get a proof of concept, go to market. And for that, you have to really simplify your processes. When you do that, it will allow you to move faster. The reason that I am not the only one that suggests this is because it's very difficult to scale something that's complex. It's much more efficient to scale something that is simplified. And this is another concept that I learned from one of my coaches, Donato Helbling, which is minimum viable dose. And that helps. What is the minimum viable dose that you should apply to achieve an outcome? Does it really help for you to work 12 hours a day? Do you really have to achieve that outcome? Or could you do it by working 8 hours a day? If you tell me I'm working 15 hours a day, doesn't mean anything. Are you making billions? Are you multiplying the outcome and the KPIs that you have? Or are you just justifying sitting in the office for 10 to 15 hours a day? That's why I say focus on 1 or 2 key financial elements or KPIs. Don't focus on 10. Distribute it to your people. Simplify the analysis process. Simplify the review process. Simplify the optimization process. Don't overcomplicate it. In your personal life as well. Simplify your expectations. Simplify your value. Your time is the most valuable asset that you have, and you should guard it fiercely. Don't waste time. You know how many people reach out to me on a weekly basis to get on a phone call? If I got on a phone call with everybody that said, let's get on a phone call, I wouldn't have any time to make money. You have to learn how to say no to your time. But also, a lot of people talk about this, you have to buy back your time. when you make the money, get an assistant, get a personal assistant. A personal assistant in the Philippines costs $500 a month. I assure you, you can afford it. Even if you are working full-time and making $5,000 a month, which is not that much money, you can afford a personal assistant, and it's going to open up so much time for you. You don't check emails, you don't do certain things, you assign a lot of the things that you do to that personal assistant, give them the power of AI, and watch what happens. But a lot of people do not do that. Why? Because, oh, that's $500 I could pocket. You're never gonna scale. Say no to distractions. Say no to low value offers just to get a few dollars in. Your time and the way you value your time will directly impact how much money you can make. Automate and delegate tasks that do not need your attention. You don't have to micromanage. You don't have to do everything. Not everything needs to be perfect. Accept the margin of error. Understand that if you give this task to John, he might do it at 70% efficiency while you do it at 99% efficiency, but then you have to do it and get 100 Johns and create the systems to fill in the gap for that 25-30% efficiency margin, right? That margin of error, accept the margin of error, build the systems. Use your time to build the systems, not to solve every problem. For example, I do not check my emails. I do not do the posts on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I have a team that does that. Do I really need that team? No, I'm buying back my time. If I did it, yeah, I would save $10,000, $12,000 a month, but I wouldn't be able to do all this other stuff that I want to do. You have to free up time and sanity where you focus on growth and innovation and creativity. If you're not doing that, you will always be a small business operator. You will always be a freelancer. You will always be an employee. You have to master doing deep work. Sometimes I get on ChatGPT and I spend hours on ChatGPT without a break. Why am I doing that? That's deep work. That's deep analysis. I'm hyper-focusing on one problem and I'm trying to get these different levels of perspectives, different areas of expertise. Because I have to change the way that I think, just like I'm preaching to you, to be able to see a problem in another fashion, in another reality, to be able to solve it. So stop multitasking. Multitasking is not a talent after a certain amount of a threshold that you achieve. Multitasking is bad for you. Hyper-focus on a few things and fix them one at a time. Block out your day. These are the 2 hours I do sales. These are the 2 hours I do content. These are the 2 hours I do investments. This is the 1 hour that I do fundraising. Split up your time. And it's not like I'm perfect at this. I am getting better though, but I am aware that that's what I have to do. Create non-negotiable boundaries for your priorities. For example, I don't entertain drama in my life. I don't entertain negativity in my life. My family brings it to me. My wife brings it to me. My employees bring it to me. And some of my friends bring it to me. I say, no, I am not going to entertain or take part in any level of drama. Why? Because I know my personality and it will just bring me down. Set firm boundaries and communicate effectively to make the people around you in your life understand that you will not bend your boundaries. Another thing that I've been doing for the past 12 months is my team asks me questions. I say, don't ask me. Do it. You have authority to make mistakes, 30% margin of error. Do it. Don't ask me. Do it. Why do I do that? I can't review every single decision in an organization. It's impossible. And that's a boundary. Don't ask me, just do it. Because without boundaries, your time will be wasted with tasks that do not have value. Remember, as the entrepreneur, as the visionary, you control your time and you control the vision. You control what's important. That is a huge responsibility that you need to get good at. Creating non-negotiable limits that ensures that you prioritize what's valuable will always maximize your earning potential. This is a long video, but there are a lot of gems in this video. I recommend that you watch this video a few times to really understand the concept of why I created such a video and why it's so essential that you understand these concepts, these fundamentals, these rules, and use them to your benefit to make more money in less amounts of time. Remember, let's go back to what Jim Rohn said decades ago. All discipline affects all discipline. You don't have to change 180 degrees. You have to adjust yourself 0.1 millimeters every single day. And if you can do that, 0.1 millimeters every single day, in a couple of years, you will be at a completely different place. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click the subscribe button and comment below. We always respond to comments.